Okay, well. Okay, we are live again. Let's see how long this lasts before we have to restart the computer again. Ugh, I don't know what it is. I have an AMD card in this thing, and I wonder if that's causing issues with it. But, who knows? Okay. So, for those of you that do not know what I'm doing, the Hackaday SuperCon was, uh, what, in November, so a couple of months ago at this point. But I've had some friends that weren't able to go, and they asked if they were able to like get a badge somehow. And I was like, well, the designs are open source, and so I am assembling some that I had made by JLC PCB. JLC PCB has some of the original bill of materials, but not all of them. And so they assembled all of the parts that they had. So, like, these buttons, but not these buttons. No screen, a couple other things. And we'll see in a second what stuff needs to be done. But yeah, I'm just putting parts on today and using a little hot air and seeing if we can't get these things, assembled and shipped out to the people who are looking to play with them, because it is really cool. It's it's called the Vector Scope, and it's based off of I guess an homage to the the old circular green phosphor displays on like super old oscilloscopes, cathode ray tube type things. But the way that they did it on these things is pretty cool. They have a whole like vector operating system, they call it, that like has this sort of like fake, what do you call it, like persistence effect. So it like fades over time as you like draw stuff on the screen. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started here. So I'll go ahead and switch over to this microscope. The first one, and this is the most, I would say, difficult and annoying part to solder here, is this guy. So this is the AK4619, and it's an audio codec. So I don't even know if anybody got this working at SuperCon. It was very finicky, and I don't think anyone was able to really like make any audio happen on their badges. So we'll see if it's able to do what we want it to do. I'm at least gonna populate them and get them able to be hacked on further. This package, the reason it's kind of annoying, is you can see here it's got 4 different I guess directions for their pins all the way around the circumference of the chip. This package is called a quad flat no lead, or QFN, and it also has that big square in the middle there. That's a ground plane, but it also serves as a like thermal relief function. So you can see like the vias, the holes in there. Those will allow essentially heat to dissipate through the board to the ground plane on the other side. So let me see if I can show that real quick. Probably not. I don't think it's super visible, but I don't know if y'all can, if I can make it out here. Where is it? Somewhere around here. I think it's these these 3 holes right here are those 3 holes, and so it's able to dissipate heat that way, and so that's how you can get, like, a bunch of power in a teeny tiny little package. And so what I'm going to do is I'm taking this this soldering paste. Ooh, yeah. So we're just laying it on there. Doesn't have to be super precise. Because what's going to happen is once we heat this up, the surface tension of the liquefying solder is going to pull everything into place, and then we'll do some cleanup with the soldering iron and clean up with the soldering iron and some other things like the desoldering wick and stuff like that. Lots of flux too. So, just trying to find my tweezers here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I got my little tweezers, and that'll help me just push things around and stuff. And I may have to take this off screen because I'm looking at the screen in front of me, but there's a little bit of lag, and this is only a monocular microscope. I have a stereo microscope also on this bench, but it doesn't have the ability to. It doesn't have any good options for whatchamacallit, for getting camera angles and such. So with that there, I also want to put just a little dab will do ya, of, there we go. A little dab of solder there for the thermal pad. And all of these parts, they come in these like reels. I don't know if y'all have seen those before, but those little holes there. So a machine called a pick and place machine can automatically pick and place these on a printed circuit board, and so that allows for super fast automated assembly. I am not a super fast automated assembly, but I do have a very particular set of skills, as Liam Neeson would say. Oops, sorry about that. Hey, caramba. Oh well. Okay, so let me just kind of smear it approximately where we want it. Gross, but good enough. Okay. And I would love to be able to show the liquefaction process. And so let me grab the hot air gun here. It's going to go loud for a moment, but as it goes loud, you will see the amazing liquefaction of the solder. Let me see. Okay. Stand by. Okay. And a very important aspect of this, so you might be able to see over here, there's a little, that's a 1 next to AK4619. That's a little 1 right there. that refers to pin 1. And on the chips themselves, you can see there's they use a laser engraver to put these little markings in there. And then that little dot right there refers to pin 1. And so that allows for visual inspection so that you know if it's oriented correctly. Okay. Here we go with the hot air. And so I'm setting this temperature to about like 650 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see this. Woo! It's blowing on there. You can see, so the solder paste is actually all of these like microscopic little little solder balls. And, oh dear, it's blowing away. That's not good. So, I have, crank that blowing power down. Okay. Like a glove. Now, it's clearly not on there correctly. And so what I'm going to do then is wielding it with my non-dominant hand. We're going to make sure it remains liquid, and I'm going to try to jostle it around until it gets in the right place. So it's a very labor-intensive activity. It takes a long time to do all of these things. So, and this is just one part. We have an entire box of parts to solder on. But I imagine they'll get a lot faster as I go. Oh my gosh, come on. There it is. Ah, okay. That looks pretty good. As long as it's kind of approximately in the right place. That's what we're looking for. Okay. And so, what you can see from this so far, I'm going to zoom in by bringing the microscope lens closer and out of focus. I'll focus it back up. Give me a moment. There. Okay. So it's like awesome, but if you look, like there's all these like blobs shorting pins together and stuff. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stuff here. Chip Quick. They're a nice brand. They make a lot of soldering stuff. But this is it's a syringe of flux, and flux is it's like a mild acid, and it helps solder flow. And so you can see it's kind of the part's still hot, and so the flux immediately just kind of flows all around there and melts. And so this is going to make it easier for the tools and such that I have to clean it up. Okay, and then I have this, so I'll show this. So this is desoldering braid, and essentially it's just a like, what would you say? It's a braid. It's a copper like mesh. If you'll focus, dang it. There it is. It's a copper mesh woven together, and it provides a way for basically a substrate that is able to pull solder up into itself, and it's more accepting of solder than the pads themselves. So I might need to use this thing. Yeah, okay. Well, apologies for pulling this off stream, or off the microscope. I gotta look in the stereoscope, make sure I do this correctly. I need a little more dexterity. And while I do that, I have, this is a pine sill from Pine 64, which I really like. I think it's an awesome, awesome tool. I need USB. So the coolest part about it is that, it's powered off of USB Type-C, which I am very fond of. I'm a true believer that it is the one true port. And so we plug this in, and actually I might be able to bring this closer. Zoom, enhance. Okay. So, yeah, the light balance there is not great. How do I adjust that? Because I need that light to see. Sorry, I'm adjusting settings on as I go. White balance, automatic. Brightness. I decrease the brightness. That doesn't do it. No gamma. No brightness. No saturation. Yeah, saturation's good. Hue. This sucks. Yes. Defaults. Move the light further away. So the light is directly on the what you call it, the aperture of the microscope, and so I need that light to see into the microscope, but oh no. Changing video settings on stream causes things to break. I gotta figure out how to stream better. This sucks. This is getting in the way of a good time. Color range, full color range. Oh, it's the Nisheng. That's what it is. Okay, there we go. Automatic and continuous. Okay, so yeah, I'll show you here. So this is the light, and so it's attached right to, this is the lens piece, and so I wonder if we can just get a weird angle going on with a little bit of better. Yeah, you'll at least be able to see that I'm doing something with a printed circuit board. Maybe you'll just see my hand. Man, I would love to get a trinocular microscope so that I'd be able to have stereo vision and also connect a camera up to it. But we make do with what we have for now. Okay. That was one of the solder bridges that was removed. There's another one. And so I'm right now just kind of touching each of the pads here. liquefying the solder, pulling away any of the offending solder bridges, and just making sure there's good contact between the pads and the pins. Yeah. I would love to find a better way to capture this, but I don't know, for next time, I guess. Okay. We'll stand for it. Alright. Bring this back up here. Now, I will give it a good scrubbing. I have in my toolbox here a toothbrush. Not to be used for teeth, but to be used for alcohol. And so, what I'm going to do here, this is just a little pump bottle. Got some isopropyl alcohol in here, and I'm going to go ahead, give it a little scrub. Wonderful. And give it a little dab and pat with a little sponge there. And then I'll dry off. Okay, I'm just going to check it one more time under a microscope. Actually, I can probably do this one because it's just inspection. I can do this one on this microscope. And as you can see, voila, these things are nice and soldered. And so what we'll try to do here, put it on its side so that we can see the solder joints. Yes, very good, very good. There's that one. Those joints look okay. I think same for these ones over here. Yeah, okay. And so, after 10 hours of messing with it, we finally have one part soldered on. Hooray! Alright, put that one to the side and we'll do the next one. Let's hopefully get a process going here. Switch it to manual focus. The when you say manual focus, are you referring to the microscope? Okay. This one I'll put to the side. Okay. Next. Let me bring this a little closer to me. Maybe that'll make it easier. Yeah, so strange how the the lighting makes it turn all sorts of weird colors. But I suppose that's just what you get with a cheap camera, the one that's higher up. I don't have manual focus, so the one that's higher up, that camera, is it's a lame webcam, USB webcam. It doesn't have any of the fancy focusing features. That, unfortunately, is an upgrade for the future. Okay, so I'm going to put another smear on here. Blah, 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 blah. A little blob in the middle. Okay. Now we get our codec. I don't know how I managed to lose things on my desk as I'm using them. There it is. Okay. So remember, got to look out for that number 1. Make sure we align our chip accordingly. And then I just kind of squish it in there. What's nice about this too is it's a little bit tacky, and so even if you just kind of like bump it a little bit, it doesn't move anywhere. It's kind of kept in place. All right, AKM 4619. View, controls, lock docs. How do I detach these? There, like so. Awesome. Sorry, just messing around with OBS. Trying to get this stuff working. Okay, I think that's a little nicer. Perfect. And that. Okay. Now, here comes the hot air. Ooh. Amazing. Always so fun to watch this. Watch these things coalesce. Look at that. Wow. All right, there we go. I don't think I need to mess with that too much. Give a little tap. I think it's off by 1. You can see the corners there. I just gotta scoot it up a little bit. Corners up at the top. Oop. Ah, goodness gracious. Is that? Nope, now it's off by 1 over there. Perfect, okay. And there it is. And then come at it again with the soldering iron. And so I should be able to just kind of do something like that. Okay. Yeah, a lot of this kind of functions off of surface tension. You just kind of put the soldering iron on, and the solder wants to go stick to the soldering iron instead of balling up there on the pads. Okay. Go do this one now. This side here, it looks like there's a bit of a bit of an inability to get the whole thing on the microscope slide. Okay, so we got that. It looks like it may be... Yeah, so if you look at the third pad from the bottom, it looks like it might not be totally attached there. It doesn't look like it's properly flowed. And so just going over here, I'm just dragging the iron across and just making sure that we have a good joint. This is better to watch than the last camera. Yes, I agree. I agree. And I'm able to actually solder by it, so that's cool too. Okay. Yeah, just checking in, by the way. You seem to be able to respond and stuff like that. Is there any audio issues that you can tell, Shane? Here. Put a little flux. A little dab will do ya. Yeah, flux is like it's like a magic substance. Really just makes everything better. Well, with respect to soldering anyway. And maybe we need a little bit more solder, so I'm taking some paste, and I am putting it directly onto the tip. Just the tip. Oh no. Blobbed it all on there. Well, that will hopefully come off with the scrubbing brush step after this. Is that... Can't tell if those are good joints or not. Let me see. Let me zoom in and change the light angle and such. I'm not totally sure. But what I'm trying to see here is like that pin there. I'm trying to make sure that they have good joints, because you'd be able to see it like making good contact on there. I might need to hit that again with the hot air. We'll see. Because remember, there's also that pad under the main like the thermal relief pad, and so if you have too much soldering paste, you can actually create like a little like pillow that is, yeah, because like, see, those are good. Yeah, you can create a little area that like lifts the chip up. Yeah, see, those don't look like good joints. All right, so I'm gonna hit it again with the hot air. But before that, I'm going to try to get this unnecessary soldering paste off. 'Cause, well, Yeah. Screw it. Heavy breathing in the beginning, but it's good now. Sorry, I'll try not to breathe into the microphone. Like a mouth breather. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Okay. Generally speaking, you don't want to add too much heat to these things. There's certain temperature profiles for these things that you're supposed to obey, so that you can make sure they stay within their rated longevity. But I'm more concerned with just getting these things assembled and operational. As long as there's no shorts, I'm happy. Okay, let's look at this from a sharper angle. That looks better. There's all the flux on it that's obscuring it a little bit, but I can see that there's some solid joints there. Okay. Look at that capacitor. A little bit extra. You don't need all that. And then all of this just extra schmutz around here. That paste, I'm just going to go ahead and scrub it off. So let me go ahead and give it a scrubbing now, and then we can do some more touch-up after that. Okay, sorry about that. I guess I'm running OBS in safe mode now. I really got to figure out what's going on with this, or just get a better streaming rig. It's currently a very laborious process to bring all of the streaming equipment here to circuit launch, and set it all up and tear it down when I'm done. But I like doing it here at circuit launch and making use of the space and tools and so on. So I'm not sure how to remedy that. All right, I'm gonna pop this into the other stereoscope real quick, and I guess y'all can watch this thing. Well, no, I'll do the top-down one, the more unpleasant viewing experience. But oh, hello, that's the camera. Just so you know, look at that. It's a Nishang M3. It's like a 4K camera, but it's not very high quality. So I am over here. Oh, got another message that says OBS has closed unexpectedly. But it hasn't, so. Oh. Man, streaming on Linux is not fun. Okay, so just using a sharp angle here to check and see. Now that side does not have good connection. See, and this is the challenge, right, with doing hand soldering of QFN parts. There's only one QFN part on this entire board, and it's this one. And so it gets easier from here, but gonna be a minute. Basically, like, everything gets easier after this part is done. Okay, just doing some drag soldering technique. Advanced drag solder technique. Okay. A little more touching up around the pads. And a little more touching up around those last row of pads. Yes? Yes. Okay, cool. I'm satisfied with that. And I will show you what it looks like back on the microscope. Okay. So, looking good. Looking good. See nice little solder joints all up under. Happy little solder joints all around. Okay. Also, check it out. I'm going to zoom in on the RP 2040. This is very cool. I like that Raspberry Pi is making their own silicon. I think that's... Oh, this is a QFN part. I'm glad I didn't have to solder this on here. Okay. Next. Okay. That iron uses less than 40 watts? Yeah. I think it, well, it says it's at like 50 watts right now. But yeah, I think this only runs at the, what is it, 9 volts or 12 volts? Probably 12 volts. 12 volts, 3 amps. That's 36. 12 volts, 5 amps. 60? Yeah, probably 12 volts, 5 amps is the USB-C PD mode. And so it's ingenious. PD power BB. Yeah, absolutely. I have so many things that I just want to convert to USB Type-C. It is truly the one true port. Okay. Center this in here. Okay. Now let's get our solder on here. Oh, actually, I need to move some things out of the way. Using my my streaming setup and like OBS, looking at what it's doing with the cameras and so on. I'm also using that as the viewport by which I'm doing this soldering, which might not be the best. considering latency and all that, but hey, we're getting it done. Plop, plop. Look at it. It's beautiful. Yeah, and so I guess I'll refer to you as single rider on the stream. I don't want to, dox your name if you're trying to hide yourself on the internet, even though I mentioned your name before. But single rider, when our mutual friend Dio, when he was here last week on Friday, I assembled a couple of these things just to kind of test it out, not on stream, but there's, I think, 20 boards total that I'm doing, and I did about, 5 last week, and by 5 boards, I mean, I put 5 of these codecs on. I still have to do all the other stuff, but the other stuff like this is what you'd call a a T-SOP, but it's just got leads on the sides there. Very easy to do a drag soldering technique, where you just sort of go drag the solder along those pins there. And so that's very quick and easy. Same goes with this other chip here. And then the screen is this array here. So again, SMD Dragon is the way. As long as you don't have anything hidden, doing QFNs is about as sophisticated as I feel I'm able to do reliably. I've messed around with ball grid arrays, but ball grid arrays are a bummer if you have to mess with them by hand. Or it's an advanced process, because if you take a BGA part off of a printed circuit board, you have to then reball it before you put it back on, and there's a whole apparatus to doing BGA reballing. So you're asking, are you bringing any to the hack? I can. I doubt I'm going to sell all of these things by the time the hack rolls around. I know most of them are already spoken for, but we'll see. If I'm not able to get them to all the people by the hack, I'll definitely bring one. It'd be cool, because nobody is going to have blue Hackaday SuperCon badges except my customers. Come on now. Yeah. Oh, and that one is right on the money. Don't let me fuck it up. Don't let me flux it up. Okay. I think that looks really nice. Yeah, soldering wick and no flux. Man, flux truly. Let me zoom out here for a second. If you want to take note, if you ever have to do soldering in the future, so this stuff here, chip quick, SMD291NL. The fact that it's a tack flux is really nice. In some respects, it's very sticky, and if you get it on your hands and stuff like that, it's annoying to deal with. It's if you get like tree sap on your hands. But it's nice because it will hold parts on the board in place while you know solder them or do whatever. Um, and so that makes certain processes a little bit easier. Um, let me flip this around, see if that helps. Adjusting the angle of the orientation of my my power cable here. Okay, nice. See, this one was fast and efficient. Yeah, that's how it goes. Sometimes you get it all right the first try, and other times it takes a couple. But so you can see there's a solder bridge right here, but those two pads they are connected to this one trace right here, which is going to, I think that's probably for power. It's like a power rail. So it's not crucial that I remove the solder bridge. This doesn't actually harm anything, but you know, aesthetically and you know, just for trying to look like good craftsmanship, it's you know, good to get those out of there. Okay. I live a life filled with solvents. This is true. This is true. Yeah. Alcohol definitely does get it. So, yeah. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solvent. So, one of the things that I did intentionally about this project is I you know, am using the bill of materials of the Supercom badge as is. And so, you know, when you're duplicating something, you know, as is, you get warts and all. And so there's a couple of bugs that are like basically built into this thing that have to be accounted for. One of them, I'll show you in a moment here. You can see there's a little bit of the silk or the solder mask. It's kind of coming off and exposing that copper under there. That happens with when you have not great solder mask and also a lot of heat and mechanical abrasion. Okay, but I think this one is good for the most part. Yeah, better not fiddle with it if it's good. Good enough, anyway. All right, so this guy, I will explain. So T1 is supposed to be a transistor, and in this case, this is a transistor. And so we can see that says 23X K1, okay? That is a transistor meant to prevent issues around having batteries. Like this thing runs off of 2 AA batteries, but you can also plug it into a USB port and power it off of that. And that transistor, it was designed to you know, switch the power paths so that you didn't end up trying to like put 5 volts into 3 volts of alkaline batteries. However, that particular transistor does not work. It was put into the schematic backwards, and so it ends up just breaking anyway. And so you end up, I think you smoke certain parts of the board, but it gets broken that way. And at SuperCon itself, this is my black badge. You can see here, this is how we receive them from the staff. So they basically had to go through and manually resolder every single one of the transistors. They had to resolder them with this is a Zener diode that's oriented the right way, and so that little bug was included in these blue badges. However, if I was going to make any more of these things, like instead of taking the schematic as is and like doing hardware fixes and stuff, I'd probably want to just like fork the design and start making hardware changes and such. But yeah, so this is the one that we just did, and looking pretty good. I'm gonna scrub it with my toothbrush here. What is it even focusing on? There. Okay. Where's my toothbrush now? Here. Okay. Looking good. Next. Oh, that one's one that I already did. Is this pile that I already do these guys? Yeah. Okay. Feels like I made a whole bunch of progress really quick. Just so you can see. Oh, check out that leg. All right. So I have a big old pile over here of all the different boards, and so as I'm finishing them, just plopping them over, and got some couple extra bits and bobs over here. This stuff also just kind of talking about generally useful tools, tools and materials. Another chip quick thing. Like, I'm not sponsored by them, but that'd be cool if they could. This stuff is a long, it's a type of alloy that when you melt it, it stays liquid for a very long time. And so what you can do is, if you need to desolder a chip, you can put this this solder, like, melt it onto all the pins, and it'll stay liquid long enough that you can melt all of the solder around it, such that you can pull it off. So I guess it, like, I don't know, somehow stays liquid over a large range of temperature. It has a very, like, wide, like, I don't know what you call it, transition point, but it's very cool, very useful. Okay, back at it. Here's another one. Let me just count this pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 to go. So we are halfway to completion. Okay. 1 hour per board. Yes. Absolutely. It is so laborious. Precisely why I was sincerely hoping JLC PCB could have assembled this for me with their fancy automated machines. But I even asked them if they could consign parts like a typical contract manufacturer, but they were not able to do that. And so, I mean, I'm sure they could. I'm sure there's people willing to do that at JLC PCB, as long as you're ordering enough. I'm ordering 20 boards, and so it is not worth not worth their time to do some specialized service like that. So, one of these days, I think it'd be really cool to get it's in like a desktop pick and place machine. There's one that recently came out called the Opulo, and the guy that made it was at SuperCon, and so I think it would be a really neat and useful thing to have for stuff like this. So at least the picking and placing could be automated, and then I'd be able to just toss this into like an oven or something. There. Okay. So cool. Boom. Just like that. Okay. Get these little blobs off of here. Okay, tapping lightly. I do actually wish that there was an autofocus on this microscope. So anytime you move anything, it gets really out of whack. Excellent. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Oop, nope, solder bridge up here. See, right there by the U1. Let me see. All right. Doth mine eyes deceive me? Maybe that's flux, who knows? Oh yeah, that was a bridge. Okay. Those guys look good. All good. Now let's scrub it. Oh yeah. Thanks. I'm proud of this one. So, single rider. I keep trying to convince Dio that he should do live streams with me, but he seems very hesitant to the idea. Do you think that he should, or should I respect his desire to not be on stream? I should probably harass him a little bit more. Yeah. So I'm hoping that by continuing to do this, and especially the reverse engineering streams, I'm really hoping I can get him on board with it, because I think he would be. I don't ever respect his desire for inaction. I like that. That's a really nice way of saying don't respect his wishes. But yeah, I agree. Sometimes he just needs a little bit of prodding, especially for cool stuff like this. Okay. Get in there. Lay it on. Okay. And there we go. A little dab will do you in the center. Yeah, his ability to rationalize do nothingness. Yeah. I don't know. I was talking with him a little bit about it, and I don't know. He's got his cycles of mood, and so being able to, kick him out of the bad ones and capture him in his good ones is important, but sometimes tricky to do. But yes, dragging him into fun, definitely the right thing to do. I think that's sort of the power of having good influences. It's like, yes, we're going to peer pressure you into this, but because it's for your well-being and best interest. Nice. Let's scoot that over a little bit. Okay, so that's probably good. Yeah, remind him every cycle. Yeah, even if he temporarily hates you for it. Yeah, that's the truth. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been the object of his ire, but he definitely has his moments when he's not interested in interacting. Twist it up here in the cables. Come on, hot air. Do what I want you to do. There we go. Make sure we can see the whole thing. Okay. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Oh, off by one. That's okay. Get everything nice and liquidy there. And, ooh, actually, it fixed itself. Look at that. Let me just give it a little pat down there, because we gotta get that. Okay, so where that solder ball is up at the top, I don't think it had good pad adhesion. I am that object constantly. I gotta say, Shane, you are truly one of the most consistent people I know. Very, very well disciplined and very well regimented. Oh, sorry, single rider. But yes, I admire that aspect about you, because it is definitely something that I struggle with as well. Go on, get in there. Okay. Nice. Nice. Looking good in the hood. Okay, those guys, those look solid, those joints. And just gotta remove that a little bit. Those guys probably need a little touch up there. Come on, where you at? Where you at? Yeah, definitely got to change up this microscope setup. That's okay. The more I do it, the better it gets. Including my mouth breathing into the microphone. Okay, that looks good. Excellent. All right, now let's scrub it. All right, I like this. Getting a little bit of a cadence going. Okay. That will dry. Another one bites the dust. Okay. So we have how many more to go? 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna stack these up differently. There's another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, actually, now we have 10. We are halfway done. I just keep finding more. Growing alcohol is a miracle cleaner, available at a reasonable price at any pharmacy around the world. Yeah, it evaporates without residue, and it's not even toxic to the touch. It really is quite awesome. Watching all of those like chemistry YouTubers, I watched one where they were talking about like why you can never find 100% alcohol, and one of the cool things about it is like in high enough concentrations, like I guess alcohol, it has this sort of like equilibrium reaction where it goes back and forth between like water molecules and alcohol molecules, and so it's self-hydrating. And so because of that, it's very, very difficult to get pure alcohol, or at least ultra high concentrations. What's a cool chemistry vid you've seen recently? I mean, I've probably seen it too, but see what's being recommended to you. Actually, I'm just going to put a little bit more here. I think better to have a little too much than not enough. Make sure it gets on all the pads. Explosions and Fire. That's a fun one. Explosions and Fire. That's the dude. He's the Australian guy that does all the backyard things. I think one of my favorite videos of his was when he's like, I'm going to make calcium from chicken bones. And he like grinds them up and like makes a chicken bone tar that he has to then like purify. Very interesting. But a very cool principle. Nice. Something that I keep thinking about from Change Agent was talking about how like what is it, biomodifications and genetic and biological engineering is like going to be the future and stuff. Extractions and ire. All right, I'm gonna check that out. But the Thought Emporium guy, he was talking about how you can like isolate genes for doing things like biomineralization, and that's how you get crabs and stuff like that to produce like hard chitin shells, and how you create bones and all those sorts of things. How you turn minerals that you eat into usable products of the body. And so I think it would be so freaking cool if like you could genetically engineer something that whatever produces its own like a bespoke like grown like I don't know, functional object. So instead of like 3D printing, you have like I don't know, bioprinting, where you have some organism that produces a I don't know, car exoskeleton for you or something. Ooh, another channel, pure chemicals to chicken soup. I don't think I've seen that one. Is that still the same guy? I feel like so. Nile Red, he did one on making like pure chemicals to create cookies, and did like a Thought Emporium, pure chemicals to chicken soup. No, I haven't seen that one. All right, does shorts now, and I hate that. Yeah, but that's where everyone's attention is going. I find myself like I get stuck into I don't know what you'd call them, attention holes, dopamine holes, where um, like I watch the YouTube shorts because I my brain craves the dopamine, but I don't enjoy or remember or you know extract a lot of value from most of the shorts, um, which I find very upsetting. It's a pretty horrifying, I don't know, brave new world we live in. And so I have this book. Um, it's called Deep Work, and it talks about how, like, basically as attention spans get shorter and shorter and shorter, um, the value uh, of being able to like focus for long periods of time on stuff is going up and up and up. And so it's like this weird contradictory thing where, like, I don't know, we uh, we want to create content that's super fast and consumable, but the people that like build the systems that create all of this like attention grabbing content, like those people need to be people who are not I don't know uh, dumbed down by it or have their attentions compromised by it. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's good for the most part. Yeah, yeah. This last little section here is probably, yeah, that's good. Okay, let me scrub it. Call that one good. All right. Dab and pat. Perfecto. Interesting. So, something that I just noticed, um, I I know that the actual I've noticed that there's like these things here, a little bit of copper, and it's just free floating copper. It's not connected to any net or anything like that, but it's just part of the footprint on all four corners there. But it's uh, meant to get solder paste on it. And what I find fascinating, I think this is the case. If, if one of my two viewers knows any different, I think because it gets a little bit like pillowy there, and kind of like pops up, I think it pushes on the chip a little bit. And so those like little corner soldering pads, I think they actually like are self-centering. Huh. Neat. Whoever figured that out is probably very clever. So, in addition to these boards, something that I need to 3D print, and this is something that I'm excited about here at Circuit Launch. So, the on the black badges that we got at SuperCon, they have these joystick thumb controllers, I guess. And so they sit on top of the this joystick switch here. Boop. It allows you to operate it with your thumb. And so what I need to do is find the 3D model for these things. And you can tell just kind of from like that little circle in the center there and just the fine detailing and stuff like that. I think these were injection molded. It's funny. De-eined, the S somehow didn't get imprinted there. But at Design Lab, Supply Frame Design Lab. These things, they have a Formlabs collection of printers, collection of Formlabs printers here. The SLA ones, or SLS, whatever it is, the vat of resin. I forget what it's called, but selective laser sintering, SLS. SLA, stereolithography is what these are. And so I'll be able to print out some pretty high detail thumb switches as well. And I might even put my own logo on there instead of the Hackaday logo. Haha. Additionally, so these things here, my black badge coming in. So this big ol' 7, and then Hackaday Super Conference 2023, all this kind of stuff. I included that on mine. I didn't make any changes to the silk screen or anything like that. I worry as I start selling these things that they're, I don't know, going to be nitpicky about copyrights or anything like that. Because, I don't know, Hackaday and logos and all that sort of stuff can be trademarked and copywritten, and I would prefer to continue providing these cool bits of hardware without having to deal with legal troubles. But something that I think is actually quite valuable, and I've noticed this with a bunch of open source hardware projects, is people will they'll create an open source hardware project, and even if you open source the bill of materials and you open source the schematics and open source the PCB files, the Gerbers, everything you need to manufacture it, the supply chain, it suffers, I don't know what you call it, supply chain rot, where very, very oftentimes parts become completely unavailable, and things go out of stock, and whatever. We all saw the chip shortages and stuff of yesteryear, and so with those sorts of things, it's not I guess the in my mind the whole idea of open source culture is it's the proliferation of ideas, and you want other people to be able to use your stuff to get it into the hands of people faster and more effectively, and that makes sense when you're dealing with with code and information systems, but when you're dealing with actual hardware, I think the idea of open source is rapid commoditization. You want many manufacturers to be able to put stuff together as quickly as possible, so that I don't know, if you go on Amazon or eBay or AliExpress or any of those sorts of things, and you look up like the STM32 blue pills and stuff, those are made by so many different types of manufacturers, but they're all kind of identical, simple hardware. I think, something that I've been reflecting on, and something that I would like to work on, is finding ways to more rapidly adapt open source hardware projects to changes in supply chain availability. So I think that would be something that, like, I have a board called a JTagulator, and they're very hard to come by now, because the guy that made them, this guy Joe Grand, he's like an OG hacker from the early days of hacking, like phone phreaking and stuff like that. But he made this awesome little device that like automatically probes test points for debugging. Oops. To determine if they're JTAG pins or not, and it's hard to get because it's based around the propeller board, or the propeller 2, propeller chip 2, something like that, by Parallax, and the Parallax propeller 2 is a really cool chip. It's like a like mini core processor, embedded processor. But the problem is like that chip's availability, and it also, whatever is kind of different to program. You have to write it in a special domain specific language and that kind of stuff. And that kind of functionality would be super useful if it was more available. And so, like, you could take that same functionality and use an FPGA to do it instead of that like multi-core processor, or some sort of programmable logic. And so finding a way to automate that, where it's like taking boards and being able to adapt new hardware and new software to them. Very difficult problem, but I think a very interesting problem, with a lot of relevant applications. Something that I saw kind of along those lines, I was looking into like, somebody was talking about like getting government funding for your projects, and I forget what the website was, or what the I don't know, means of doing that was. I gotta look that back up, but there was like a DARPA project that was talking about like, can you, like, there's funding available for developing systems that can like look at a broken down vehicle, for example, and then determine what you can scavenge from it and slap into something. And so if you had that, you could swap things in and be like, oh, okay, this subsystem we can replace with this other subsystem that we've scavenged from some broken vehicle or computer that we have, something like that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I wonder who's working on that kind of stuff. I think this looks pretty good. Yeah, nice. Nice. Alrighty. Okay, well, single rider. I'm going to take a break for a little bit. Let me go ahead and move this over here. Maybe get that out there. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to eat my my Panera salad. And so I'll leave it streaming and still respond to chat and stuff like that. But I'm going to probably move to a slightly different area. I don't want to eat in the soldering space. But I'm going to go wash my hands, grab a sip of water, and have some dinner. So I can, if you don't want to stick around and chat while I'm eating, I can shoot you a text or something like that whenever I'm back. But it's up to you. I appreciate that you hang out on these streams. You always have very interesting feedback. Bedtime soon. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I told Olivia that I was gonna try to be back around 10 or 11, so we'll see. I would really hope. I think I'll be able to get all these codecs on tonight as part of the stream, but yeah, after that I'm gonna pack it up and call it a day. All right. Gross. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands and be back soon. Okay, I am back. Let's see how I can do this. How can I engage while still... Aha! I have an idea. Got this mobile cart. So... Okay, cool. So a little cart that I can set up on. That is not a soldering workstation. Apologies for that brief intermission. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay. Microscope. AEL-12. So cool. But not what we're working on. So, the reason that there's already solder on these pads is because they used or the reason the solder looks like that on those pads is because they used a technique called hot air surface leveling. And so in order to like basically inexpensively protect the exposed copper from like corroding and stuff, they put solder over everything and then melt it with hot air. And that is it's a very cheap way of providing corrosion resistance to exposed copper, but you can see with that pad there, it doesn't create a very consistent like pad coating. And so like they basically do that, put that coating on there before putting any of the other like solder paste and parts down. Alright, next chip. Yeah, and so with the hot air surface leveling, you get kind of like an uneven surface there sometimes, and so that can make it a little tricky at times to like if you have like really high tolerance parts, sometimes they can not sit right. But for low cost, low precision, low complexity stuff, it is quite effective. Other options besides hot air surface leveling, you can use something called ENIG, which is, what is it? Electroplated nickel immersion gold, I think is what it stands for. But it's for yeah, it's basically like when you see gold traces on a PCB, that's an ENIG finish. There's also other ones, like you can get platinum coating on there and stuff for doing more specialized things, like if you're doing like wire bonding, palladium, those kinds of. Soldering iron keeps falling off its stand. There we go. Okay. Nice. Okay, now we'll touch it up. Oh, come on now. Get that little... Trading one short for another. There it is. Okay, cool. So that's looking fresh. Let's get this guy. Let's get this guy. I think that's the last side to be touched up. Cool. Excellent. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, apologies for the phlegm. Just getting over a little cold here, but feeling a heck of a lot better than I was a couple days ago. All right, a little dab and pat there. Excellent. Very good, very good. So in order to put the circuit boards through like the pick and place machine and the hot air whatchamacallit, the ovens, to the reflow ovens, it comes on these rails, and what's super cool about them is they use a V-shaped drill bit, or V-shaped cutting tool, essentially, to like score these things. Call it V-scoring, and they're super satisfying to snap off. But those are just like little holders there, and then they have all of these little dots, and these dots are called fiducials, and that helps line up the pick and place machine, so it knows, offset from the center of those fiducials, where to place things. Okay. I wonder if this could happen faster if I did all of the soldering and like putting the solder paste down all at once for all these things, and then coming back and doing the hot air gun. I don't know. I'm not sure what would be quickest here, but doing all this stuff by hand sure sucks. I don't know. It's just kind of tedious, but it's also kind of zen. I do actually enjoy doing hand soldering of things. That's the interestingly, the kind of stuff that normally like technicians would do professionally. I find this stuff to be more, interesting and satisfying than electrical engineering design work sometimes. But the design work is where the money's at, unfortunately. There's already some solder on there, so I don't think I need to put that much. Okay. Come on now, reflow. There it is. Perfect. I say perfect, but not quite. Oh, geez. It's just looking weird. What's wrong with that one? Oh, just a short. Does that not want to unshort itself? Here, we'll add a little bit of flux to assist. Hold on. I'm going to look at this under the other microscope. Just a trick of the eyes. Nope. It's like a lifted pad or something. Ooh. Dang. Okay. Well, that's not good. So if you look at this one, what I'm seeing is one of those ground pins. Yeah. So on the other board, it seems like if you look at this thing where the hair is, that trace that's like going to the main pad, that lifted and is now kind of bent over and shorting against this thing. So that's a little tricky, because I guess there's several other, places where that's connected. But I don't want to damage that pad if I don't have to. So let's see how we can try to remedy this. Ooh. Okay. Maybe a little too aggressive, but I might have done it. Let me see. Let me get a little bit of regular solder here. Just touch it up one last time. Interesting. Okay, well, it's gonna be a little different. Okay, I think that's good. I guess I'll just finish it up over here. This one seems like a little bit of a hack job, but, you know, do what you gotta do. See, put that under there. This thing on the left is a little gross. So let me clean it up with the toothbrush, and we'll see how it turned out. Okay. It's not terrible. It's not great either. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in real close with this, because it's what's going on here. Just want to make sure that there's no short there, but you can see it's kind of like, I don't know, a little bent, a little bit sad. I just want to make sure that there's no shorts in there. I can probably probe it if I need to. Yeah, I'll do that later. For now, we'll call this done. Yeah, because like once I get all these chips on here, there's going to be a process of you know, bringing everything up and testing everything, make sure there's no shorts, make sure you can program the chip, because I'm going to flash these all with the Vector OS before I send them off. Retrobury says that birds are not real. I think that Retrobury is a bird and therefore not real. Bloop, 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 bloop. Getting in there with those emotes. I don't actually know what a lot of the Twitch emotes are. I'm a little bit of a boomer in that respect, but they sure do look funny. Hee hee. That is a talking cat. Okay. Let's plop down another one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start just taking all of these. Instead of putting hot air on this one, I'm going to get it in the right place and then put it to the side. And then do that with the others. That way I can feel like I am changing the pace and making things go by faster. Because I think there's only like 5 left. Thankfully. Bloop, bloop, bloop. What are you up to tonight, Retroberry? Anything fun? I think, Retroberry, do you and, Pusoko, do you guys have the same birthday? I think she was saying something about like a birthday stream or something from her status, because I don't actually talk to her. Watching me. If you had to solder 20 QFN parts, is this how you do it? Ah, okay. Oh no, her birthday's the 6th. January 6th. Your your day of the year. So reflowing everything, I can, but the reason I'm not, first of all, I don't have a stencil, and I could just like put, yeah. There's no stencil, and like there's like so many other parts already on here. So even if I had a stencil, I would be able to get like good, like the stencil wouldn't lie flat against the board, especially with like the Pico on here already and stuff, and that'd be annoying. And like really, this part that I'm doing right here, it's the most annoying one. It's the only one that I need to do with hot air because it's QFN, because I got to get that like thermal pad there. But all the others, I can do like just really quick and easy, like drag soldering on, and just kind of like drag the tip across all of the leads. So satisfying. Blub, 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 blub. Okay, that and that, good enough. Hot air instead of hot plate. Yeah, I will show you on this next one here, but it's a double-sided board, and so there's like JLC PCB. There were I asked them to assemble as many of the parts as they had on hand. They didn't have these particular QFN chips on hand in their stock, and they couldn't acquire any, so I got these off of DigiKey. They weren't willing to do like, you know, bespoke ordering and stuff like that. And so the reason I'm not using a hot plate is because on the front side there's all of these switches already in place, and so like using the hot plate could potentially melt those the plastic in there. The actual like chip that I'm doing right now though it's like, so these three vias right here, it's underneath that, and so I could potentially finagle something where it's like it's on standoffs, and like you just concentrate like, you know, some heat right here, and just like stack everything up on top of, I don't know, nuts on the hot plate, which I don't know. maybe that would have been faster. But you'd still have to align everything and get it on there properly. So. Yeah, looks as though the pads already have solder. Yeah, so they were definitely they did like hot air surface leveling, HASL, and there's a little bit on there. I like putting the extra stuff on there because there's like all the flex built into the paste. But yeah, like normally, so this is like basically putting a little bit of like extra solder on there, and then I take it off as a cleanup process once it gets hot aired. All right, you shall see in a moment. I don't know if you remember Retroberry, but maybe too much solder. Maybe. We'll see. But it balls up and you can take it off. Because as long as there's like good adhesion with like the pad, the big thermal pad in the center. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, I think I messed with this already. I tried touching it up with a soldering iron, and then just put it back into the stack. Let me get my desoldering wick, because it's going to be... Yeah, so actually, that's a good point. Yeah, remove the previous solder first. That is a good point. And I was doing that for the first couple, where it's like I would put flux on it, and then I would remove the solder, and then I would clean it, and then I would put solder paste down and apply the thing, and it ended up being a lot of steps, and this already is kind of a laborious process, and so I'm taking shortcuts, but hopefully those shortcuts won't have dire consequences, full life consequences. Oops. Yeah. So Retroberry is he's talking about doing this process here. It's like, whoop, actually can't see nothing. We have the soldering wick, and then you are heating up the soldering wick and the pads at the same time. You can see it's like whoop, going and getting absorbed into the soldering wick, and that is leaving a flatter area to put solder paste down on. The consequences will never be the same. So, Retroberry, I know you told me about the Mars FPGA thing. I haven't been keeping up. Do you know when that is available? Is that available? Because I think that's pretty cool. I think that, interestingly, there's like a lot of opportunity there for, it can be, for lots of money. Yes. Get some of the prototypes or whatever. Front run everyone. Yeah, what was that? That was like a some sort of plot point in The Devil Wears Prada, where like the the mean devil who wears Prada was like talking to her intern, and she's like, "Ah, yes, you need me to, or I need you to go to, um, you know, the publisher of Harry Potter and like get a manuscript of the latest Harry Potter book or something before it's available." Yeah, and so she had to like get a pre-release Harry Potter version for the Devil's kids, not kids, nieces and nephews, because I guess she was a, I don't know, miserly old spinster or something. But she's Meryl Streep and everybody loves her. Which, if you haven't seen The Laundromat, I would recommend it. Meryl Streep plays an exasperated old lady who is trying to navigate being a victim of money laundering and tax fraud. And there's no real good resolution at the ending. Okay, this is the last board to apply the solder paste to and prepare for hot air. Yeah, not widely available, but I'm sure the devs will accommodate given enough funding. Sorry, excuse me. I think I remember reading, like, it's not one of the, like, I don't know, big three FPGA manufacturers, that they had some sort of, like, I don't know, smaller third party available. But I'm still another project for the back burner, but I would love to get playing with my my BeagleBone Fire that has the Polar Fire FPGA on it. I think that would be really cool to get a Mr. FPGA set up on if possible. Given enough funding. Okay. And we place the last one with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chips left. All right. Now let's hit it with the hot air. Oh, come on now. Come on now. There it is. Woo! Okay. A little bit of tapping to make sure surface tension gets it in place. Let's do these little touch-ups here. Just kind of drag it across. Nice. Cool. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There it is. So have you been playing any good games recently, Retroberry? Any retro games? I keep trying to convince Dio to do streaming with me. He's warming up to the idea, but I think it'd be cool if you did more streaming, Dio did streaming, we all did streaming. Yeah, just Mario RPG remake. Start the latest Zelda. Yeah, I mean, I remember it was super fun playing the Breath of the Wild. The game mechanics were cool, and so yeah, the latest Zelda I think would be really fun. What's that? What's the latest Zelda one called? I think that's probably fine. Oops. Okay. Tears of the Kingdom. Aha. Why so sad, Link? Don't cry for me, Argentina. Oh Lord, we moving. Ooh, bubbling, bubbling, bubbling. Okay. Yeah, that Mario RPG, that sounds like a really interesting concept. I've never been a huge fan of RPGs, but I've played it's like a Final Fantasy RPG. I guess all the Final Fantasies are RPGs, but it was one for the Game Boy Advance. Final Fantasy Tactics, I think is what it was. Way back when. Okay. Oh, oops, I forgot to clean the other one. Clean this one? Yes. Alright. Was co-made by Squaresoft. Okay. And yeah, Squaresoft, they did like Kingdom Hearts and all that stuff, right? It's interesting collaboration. But I guess I don't know. Squaresoft doing a collaboration with Disney, it would make sense that they would do something with Nintendo as well, or one of those sorts of things. Yo. Good. So, Nintendo and Square were right before Nintendo wouldn't switch to CDs during the PS1 era. I noticed this when I was doing one of the other ones earlier, but you see how the footprint for this thing, it has those little like corner pieces, and those corner pieces, they're not connected to anything. They're not ground pads or anything. They're just kind of there. And I was like, oh, that's so I first thought it was so that you can just align it when you're putting it on the align the part when you're putting it on the board. However, because those things get solder on them, I think they actually might be self-centering, and so they'll like, as they kind of puff up, they'll like push on the corners of the part to sort of like make sure that it aligns and, you know, sticks to the center. Okay. We have 4 more to go. I am so stoked for this aspect of this project to be done. Oh, shoot. No. Aw. Damn. My soldering iron just accidentally melted a hole in the alcohol bottle I was using because it fell off its stand. That sucks. Oh well. Such is life, I guess. I'll probably fix it with some hot glue. Heat up the hot glue then. Over here, right? Okay. Now let's touch up this little guy. Cool. Yeah. Retroberry, or folks in your office, are they all going back into work this upcoming week here? I still need to, yeah. It's like, all right, vacation's over. Time to go back and hit the grindstone. Yeah, I need to still do a couple more things for my upcoming contract. I got to get enrolled in their like hour tracking system. Yeah. Are things, I don't know, any expected to be any different than they have been previously at your place of work? Any new projects or new topics of interest? Not yet. Okay. Hmm. Beautiful. Nice. All right. 3 more to go. Hello, O. Also my babe. All right. Woo. So, awesome. I can explain what I'm doing to O babe. Yeah, so put some soldering paste down on this thing, and so it looks kind of like sand in the image, but it's actually like super super tiny like micro spheres of lead, lead and tin and maybe silver, various kinds of metals, and then as it heats up here, it bubbles, and then it all coalesces just like that. It's super satisfying, just like that. Just make sure I get it in the right spot there. Okay. Yeah, Retroberry. So I'm using my pine cell, and I gotta say it is the best soldering iron I've ever owned, and something that I was thinking because I recently purchased like a really like janky, not so great pair of hot tweezers from AliExpress. Um, it would be so cool if there was like some way that you could take 2 pine sills and turn it into a pair of hot tweezers, while also, I don't know, combining their power outputs in a way that didn't require 2 separate USB cables. But yeah, USB power delivery is truly the best thing ever. All right, that one's good. Ooh. So, I was mentioning this earlier, but like, even though it's open source, um, there's still a lot of legwork that goes into like having to manufacture open source hardware, and you have to get connected with suppliers and manufacturers of all the different like plastic pieces and metal pieces and assemblers and all those types of things. And so, you know, um, I wonder if, yeah, could probably like, I don't know, 3D print something. And just kind of like, I don't know, have some prototypes of it. But making like a straight up new soldering iron would be tricky, I think. Okay. Okay. 2 more to go. It's so satisfying how that surface tension pulls that in. And by pushing on it with those tweezers there, that's also taking any of the, like if there's too much solder underneath like the thermal pad, it squeezes it out. And so surface tension is saving the day. Okay, so I think that one's probably fine. I saw recently, I think it was was it on Kickstarter? I don't know. I forget where I saw the project, but there's a new open source hardware and software uninterruptible power supply. Uses like those like it's a lot of like TI chips, but it uses it to like manage a bunch of 18650s. Not enough for a computer, I don't think, but for some beefy equipment maybe. Oh my god, last one. Excusez-moi. So is your truck finished? Yeah, I don't know. I've been dreading taking it to the mechanic, because I know that, you know, it's very likely to be in a super expensive fix. Already I have leaking power steering fluid, and so now it's leaking coolant, and so that's, not a recipe for great success. So I might have to, either dish out a lot of money, which I don't want to do, or buy another vehicle, which I don't want to do. So I don't know. We'll see. I think this week I'm going to take it to the mechanic, have him kind of evaluate it, because if it's not too terribly awful, as bad as I'm expecting, then I'll just fix it, keep it limping along a little bit longer. But yeah, the outlook does not look good. It's like, I don't even know what it is about those vehicles, like, that makes, I don't know, stuff degrade like that. I don't know. I guess it's just super, I don't know, caustic and under high vibration and stuff, maybe. But it is an old truck. It has been driven and abused a lot, so I suppose it makes sense that, you know, eventually it'll be on its last legs. Glorious. I am very pleased with this one. Okay, and I'm very pleased with this one because it's the last one. I am done with these dang QFN codecs. Whew, about dang time. All right. And so, yeah, just to show you. This one is the official badge, and this one is mine. Very similar, just a different color. Yeah, and so we were putting on this chip where my finger is. Yeah, that's the codec right next to the Raspberry Pi Pico. And yeah, like I was mentioning earlier in the stream, all of the other parts are big and chunky and super easy to not only solder, but to verify for correctness and make sure there's no shorts or anything like that. And so it's like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, yeah, there's like 18 or so parts, not including the headers. But yeah, those ones should go fairly quickly. They're all, yeah, fairly basic with big leads and stuff. So, all right. On that note, I am going to call it a night. Thank you, Retroberry and O, for coming and hanging out, and Single Rider as well. I think you're still watching, but yeah, man, men, women, everything in between. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. All right.